Hey everybody, welcome back to Breakfast with Bob from Hotel West End in beautiful Nice. My name is Bob Babbitt, and we are brought to you by Master Spas, SFuels Go Longer, HOKA Let's Fly, deboer wetsuits, Form Smart Swim Goggles, Zoot Sports, the original triathlon brand, Quintana Roo, Premium Plus Sports, and of course our Challenged Athletes Foundation. Our next guest, Mr. Kristian Hogenhaug. How are you doing, Kristian?
Good. Being back here with you means that there is something important about to happen soon.
Yes, we're having breakfast. That's
exactly.
I like
Favorite
that.
meal of the day.
Very good. Now, take me back to when you first got into this silly stuff. How old were you?
I think I was about 20 or 21. Came in with absolutely no elite background.
No, you were a specialist in World of Warcraft.
Yeah, exactly.
You were a video guy.
Yeah. So I
And
always.
there's a lot more money in video game now.
Yeah, now.
Yes.
Yeah, and I should actually maybe take that up again. I think there's even more money in that now.
Yes,
than,
it's huge.
It's switched around.
Yes.
But luckily you get a much fitter body from doing triathlon, so I think I'll stick to that.
And it was one of your teachers who got you into this?
Yeah, at a kind of a school you can go to in one of your sabbatical years.
Yes.
Where it's just about, you can do one with theater or sports or music, and I went on one with sports, and he had done a lot of Ironmans, and back then it was still 10 years ago, but it wasn't as big as it is now. So it was really kind of mythical, and also to me, because I knew nothing about it, and he kind of became like an idol, and I thought, okay, I have to try
that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, were you thinking the Olympic format? Because that's usually where people start, or was a long distance because he was in the Ironman? Is that something that mattered to you?
Yeah, I actually knew nothing about the Olympic format, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it was all about the long distance.
Everything was all about Ironman, yes.
And for me, the challenge was also, as it is for most people, just to finish.
Right.
And it was also, back then, it was, about the challenge, I think, and the mental grind, which somehow I just really liked. So it started off as as a challenge, and then evolved over time, but I never thought I was going to be here.
Yes, but the main thing I see is just a lot of, like an 18 full Ironman Copenhagen and Challenge Almere, and a lot of long distance races, Hamburg and again Almere and Hawaii. The full. The 70.3 didn't quite interest you that much?
Yeah, primarily the full distance has been where I found my strength, I think. But more and more the middle distance is more appealing to me as the swim is coming together. I have no swim background, so
so you had to learn it from scratch.
Yeah, and it's easier. It's not it's easier to come up with a swim deficit in an Ironman than it is.
It is.
On
no
half,
question about
so
that. Yes.
That's kind of you do, and you love what's your best at.
Yes.
And for most of my career, it's been the full, but I really like the half distance. Also, the fact that you're not totally smashed afterwards.
You can do more of them.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm definitely going to do more of that over the coming years, I think.
I think it helps too.
Yeah.
You have to transition faster. You've got it's shorter, higher intensity, which carries over. It used to be people moved to Ironman when they got slower and older.
Yeah, exactly.
And now people are coming in at 21, 22, 23, and they're fast, and they can be fast at 70.3 PTO distance and full.
Yeah, and I think if you're not good at half distance, you're
not going to be good at full anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the way the sport is now.
Really,
it's completely different sport than 10 years ago.
Well, and also that probably one of the bigger differences is how dominant. I mean, we talk about the Norwegian guys a lot, but the depth in terms of Denmark is crazy.
Yeah.
Right? You've got...
I don't know exactly how it all comes together because we're all from different places in Denmark.
So you guys didn't really know each other, or just...
No, I think, like Daniel Bekkegaard and Miki Takholt and Matthias Pedersen are from Odense.
Yes. Magnus from
Copenhagen.
Okay.
And so But yeah, I don't know. And I'm from Aarhus at third place, so yeah, I don't know. You know, you always try to maybe first you compare yourself with the national elite, and
Right.
if the levels are really high there, then if they are suddenly the best athletes in the world, you're comparing yourself to the best in the world.
Yes, and when and you see they're all from your country, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
No. It validates the fact that, hey, our country could dominate. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So Hamburg this year, third
Yeah.
place on the podium, 2:40 marathon, 7:31. Just that. We know it's a fast course, but the level of competition there this year was crazy, and it took you a long time to recover from that.
Yeah. I think apparently Ironman has come to a place where I think at a point it was like, okay, after the 30K mark, you had like maybe 5 or 10 minutes either to the guy in the front or the guy in the back, and it was kind of a sealed deal, right?
Right, you
And
sort of
then
by
it was
yourself, yeah.
damage control to the end. But now it's like there's maybe 30 seconds up to the guy in front and 2 minutes to the guys 6 places down or something like that. So you really have to grind all the way, and it was like that in Hamburg. I ran with Peter Himmerich the last 10K.
Yes.
And I actually thought that I had kind of sealed the deal and he wouldn't come back, but he came back on my feet, and I had to dig so deep, and in the end we caught up to third place.
Yes.
Which happened to be Jan Frodeno, which was kind of nice for me, maybe not for him, but that's a moment I'll never forget. Trying to sprint past him because
how far were you into the marathon?
It was like I think we had like 300 or 400 meters left.
Oh.
Yeah. And I had this like flashback from I think it was the Olympics in 2008
when he out sprinted Simon Whitfield.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I was like, oh fuck. He's gonna out sprint me, but I think he was totally gone. But that kind of just came up the top of my mind when I passed him. That
I can be Jan here. I can be the one out sprinting the other guy.
Yeah. But I thought he would like do like a massive sprint, but I guess Ironman is different than Olympic.
It's a little different. It's totally different. But also, you never know if you have another opportunity to race that guy, because this is his last year.
Yeah, and he just keeps impressing because he has elevated the sport on so many levels, but then still to be able to elevate your own game, because he can't be the same as he was in 2015 and still win races. He has to like improve his game as well.
Yes.
And to be able to do that, I don't think a lot of people know how much that really requires, because the sport is in such a crazy fast development at the time that the level of the sport is doing like this, but then your own form curve has to be even steeper than that. And it's and then to be able to do that at 42, that's
well, and then
amazing.
Not just doing it at the full Ironman, but at Milwaukee, where it's even less than a 70.3.
Exactly.
And he's got Christian Blumenfeld there and everybody else, and he wins.
Yeah.
And you're going, you never thought that was going to happen.
No. Though.
So know if this is going to be his last ever race, he's not coming here to wave to the crowd. He's coming here to win this thing.
Yeah. He's all in, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which makes it pretty cool that you get to race him on the last race he'll ever do.
I think we're fortunate to be there and do it with him.
Right.
And also just whenever he's on the start line, it's just something special. There's, of course, you always want to win or do well, but when he's there, or guys like Kristian or something of their caliber, you also want to beat them. Like that's another checkpoint on the list.
It's World of Warcraft, right? You want to take those guys down.
Yeah, exactly.
Take down the best guys.
Yeah.
When you look at, so you had Hamburg, and then you come here, and I'm sure your thought was, hey, I've got the World Championship coming up. I want to check out the course and really get a feel for it. What did you take away? I know you didn't finish the race, but you did the part that mattered, which is the bike ride.
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of the main the main purpose. I could already feel leading into the race. I wasn't sure if I was going to race because
it's only a couple weeks after Hamburg.
Yeah, and mentally and also physically, I was completely destroyed. But it was like, okay, I just need to get through the bike ride, and then we'll see from there.
Yes.
But maybe that's not the best mental space to go into a full Ironman with. But then a few days before the race, Cam Wurf also turned up, and he did an Ironman just 1 week prior.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, now I have no excuse.
Exactly.
But other than that, it was actually also really nice for me because he's one of the best bike riders in the sport of triathlon, and I guess maybe also going downhill.
Watching his line and seeing how he handles it. Yeah.
So I was fortunate enough to do most of the bike ride with him, and also did the I did the last descent with him, which was that was just to see how he takes the curves, how much speed you can take with you into the corners, because the last descent is if you just do it on a normal Sunday bike ride, you wouldn't say it's a technical descent, but the thing that makes it technical is that you can literally go down with it at like 60 or 70 k per hour in some of the turns. So
and you can make up a lot of ground.
And actually, after the race, I went home and tried to compare with some of the French guys who live here. To see how much time we either lost or gained on some of the downhills, and it was actually only on the last I think we rode kind of the same speed on the downhills as the French guys who lived here, so I was pretty satisfied with that. But then I also saw the guy who has the KOM on the last descent is Rudy van Berg from 19 and we actually lost on that day, and he of course he did it in a 70.3, but we lost 3 or 4 minutes on a 30-minute segment.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
So he was absolutely hammering. I think maybe with Alistair that year or something like that.
Could have been, yes.
So we'll see. I hope it's a little bit different, that you're a little bit more fatigued after 160k on the bike rather than 60k. So, but you can go. I think we went like at a decent but safe speed, but you can also if you can gain 4 minutes on us on 30 minutes, that's in a world championship race, that's a lot.
Well, and then the run's flat. Is that good for you? It's a multiple loop flat. I mean, obviously the French guys will have an advantage because the crowds will be cheering for that.
For sure. But I think that's good for me. I can get into a good flow and then kind of build up to the speed and then keep it.
Right.
And then what makes it brutal is that, as I remember from when I did it earlier this year, that the only real shade there is on the run course is when you run by the airport. You can run like 15 centimeters from the fence. There is 15 centimeters of shadow for like 1K. That's all you got. So
there's no shade.
So it's super hot. And of course, one of the ways you have the wind in the back, which makes it even hotter.
Yes.
And actually, it's also a bit humid being that close to the sea. So
yes. Yeah, it's been hot in the afternoons.
Yeah.
It's been been going
really hot. Yeah.
So you've had that World Championship experience in Kona, correct?
Yeah.
And so you know that really when you're going through the World Championships, it's not so much the course is important, but it's really the competition and how deep it is, and that everybody is here from Rudy to Jan to you name it. They're here, and they all want the same thing. They all want to win this race.
And I don't think I have cracked the code for like a world championship race yet. I hope to do it this year, but for me, I found it easier. For example, Hamburg was the European Championships, and maybe there was 2 or 3 guys that you have to watch or that you feel you have to battle it out with from the beginning. But I think previous years at the World Championships, I've maybe tried to battle it out with too many people, and that way burned a bit too many matches. And I'm gonna have to approach it different.
So maybe just focusing on yourself rather than thinking about the other guys.
And then because it's so easy to fake it. Also, I think on the long climbs here, you can especially fake it on the first one, maybe on the second shorter one to before the last descent, but I think for me I have to focus a bit more on myself, and then even though it's more tempting to really go out and really create the race, but
So you were in Kona, and was it 19? You got 18th there?
That was not a pleasant surprise.
You were looking for better.
Actually, that year I think I also saw it as a learning opportunity to see how the best bike riders ride. So tried to ride with I rode with Sebi, Sanders, and Wurf.
Oh.
And I think on the run, because it's such broad roads and straight roads, I ran with my eyes closed for like half of the way, because that was the only way I could really
you ran with your eyes closed?
Yeah, because the pain was just hurting, and like I didn't want to see, you can see like a couple of Ks down the road.
You don't want to see how far it is.
But so that was all just survival on the run.
Well, 310. That's
Yeah.
That's not where you want to be.
Nah.
No. Yeah.
And so I still need to crack the code. So I really hope I can do that.
What would you be happy with here?
So I would be very pleased with a top 10.
Okay.
And then like the dream goal or stretch goal, or what you can call it, would be the top 5.
Yes.
And I wouldn't say it if I didn't think it was like an opportunity or something that could happen. But of course, it requires me to have a very good day and not fade at all, because as soon as you fade in a world championship race, it's a lot of places. You're gone.
You can't do it.
Yeah.
So the early part of this bike ride with those the climbing that you guys are going to have to do early in the race, that pretty much can decide this thing, because people could be gone and off by themselves and never be seen again.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I think like the first one took us like almost like 45 or 50 minutes.
Yeah, first climb.
Yeah. And you're pushing quite a lot more power than you would on the flat, but you don't have the wind cooling.
Right.
And so I remember just the heart rate just kept drifting. Yeah. And then after that, you don't really get to take a break, because you have like a pretty long flat rolling part of the course. Yeah. So
what's tough is if you were just riding it on your own, you'd finish the climb and sort of relax.
Yeah.
But the fact that you rode it on race day, you realize that, okay, that's done. Now we need to attack this.
Yeah. And also what I think is interesting with this course is that like the long climb is following by that section, and that's maybe the best section to be in a group.
Right.
So maybe for some people it can be an advantage to try and hold on to people on the climb, and you have to take the decision also, should I let these people go or should I hold them? And then you can maybe you can gain 10 or 20 watts from sitting in a group on the top. Is it worth it to maybe go a bit over your limit? And it's so
it's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah.
But you feel you're all recovered from the early Ironmans this year when you were pretty fatigued.
Yeah, it took way longer than I had hoped, but I had the 5 really, really good weeks of training.
Good.
And
have you been training in the mountains?
No, actually just back home in Denmark.
Okay.
I have a really incredible training environment there. So I think that's where I get the most out of myself. And then, I have a little week now where I can record the parts of the course that I think will be decisive on Sunday. So,
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure, Kristian.
Yeah, you too, Bob. It's always nice to be here. And, then something big is coming up.
You know, something big is coming up because we are here for Breakfast with Bob at the beautiful Hotel West End. Kristian Hogenhaug has been our guest. Thank you, bud, for taking time.
Thank you for letting me be here.
Hold on, everybody. We will be right back.